Hi guys, my name is Andrew Crumrine. This is EPI2 Instructional Strategies from West Campus, Valencia College on June the 3rd, 2018. I want to talk to you about service learning, and service learning is through experience. As you can see in the little picture there, there's all sorts of things that can be involved in service learning, all sorts of courses, and you can involve about anything through everything through our education through service learning. Let's talk about it. Let's break down the two words. Service learning is service is the action of helping or doing work for somebody. And learning is the knowledge acquired through experience and study of meaning. And you can see in the picture, they want you to focus on three words. One is learn, grow, and service. When the funny thing is, two of those words is the word service learning. A Great Man by Martin Luther King, as you know, Junior, said everybody can be great because anybody can serve. And that's great because he was just talking about everyone can be involved. You don't have to be a certain culture or a certain size or certain talent. Everyone can involve. And that's what's great about the classroom. We have a lot of diverse groups, and you can involve everybody. And that's what you want, a lesson that you can easily involve everybody. Service learning, the definition of service learning is an educational approach that combines learning objectives with community service in order to provide problematic, progressive learning experience while meeting social needs. Now, service learning helps with focuses on effective citizenship and behavioral issues. It helps students better understand social issues relevant to their own community. And as you can see, these three young ladies here are planting trees. It could be from a science class or whatever. And maybe it was Earth Day, and this is part of their service learning lesson to complete. It's a great thing to do. There are 4 steps into service learning, and the first one is interpersonal learning, and that's which students reevaluate personal values and motivations by channeling a passionate interest in the serving learning. So if someone's passionate about wanting to be a doctor, well, good service learning, community service would be helping and volunteering at the hospital. Pretty simple, huh? But we want our students to be passionate. It makes it easier on us because then they're interested, they care. Our second step is academic material. And academic material is taught through practical application and reflection. Now, reflection we'll talk a little bit at the very end, and it's one of my favorite parts of the service learning. Our third step is cognitive development, and that's for students to challenge critical thinking and problem-solving skills. It helps in their contests and provides additional information and experience from them to evaluate themselves and for the teacher to evaluate them. Now, there's a lot of skills they could learn, and also problem-solving is fantastic because they'll learn to be leaders, they'll learn to be good followers. You never know. There are life situations and situations they might not come up to yet that they'll get to learn through this service that they do. Our last step is my favorite. It's transformation. And transformation is thinking about things in a new way and move them in a new direction. So you want your students to be able to grow from this experience. Who doesn't? But when you get that one that really grows and get them out of that box, it can really make a difference for that student. A little background about service learning within the educational academic world. We are one of 18 states that ties service learning to a student achievement. We're one of 6 states to stand alone in credit-bearing service learning course, which means that we have courses just alone for service learning. And one of 30 to identify service learning or community service as a means of preparation for students in the workplace. Just like this young lady. Looks like an old coffee shop or a little diner. She could have learned some skills and some ability from her service learning to help prepare her for the job. There's teachings and strategies, and some of our strategies come involved. For the first is for what the students are going to learn. They're going to learn effective problem solving and skills to serve in the community. Now, involving skills of serving in the community, we want to make sure that we know the relationship. And that is that we want to make sure that while in the community, the student is more than just planting trees. They're helping to truly understand the experience and their civic responsibility. There is a relationship between classroom instruction, community service. Obviously, we start in the classroom. We give that proper instruction, and that relationship between those two are, while it's applying in the concepts, we're learning in the classroom to learn in the community. We want to make sure that the teacher does put the classroom instruction all together first, and we want to make sure that relationship gels very nicely. Some strategies that a teacher can come up with and follow through for service learning. Here's a few of them. One is a soap drive, just like you see the two little girls there collecting new bars of soap. They're for the homeless, and that teaches hygiene, but also helps the community out too. As I talked about before, volunteer and helping at the hospital. That's a great way to learn and to grow and to give service to. Another one we talked about already, we saw the three girls playing in trees, and that's great because I've learned that one myself. When we were in elementary school, we received trees, little pine trees, to take home and grow. And by darn that we actually planted that tree, and it's already 20 feet tall. So yeah, a lot of years ago, but it's amazing because a little tree that was just barely big as your hand got that big, and it tells a good story too. And that was through service learning. A lesson that we learned from school. Also, growing lunches. If you see it more often if you have Future Farmers of America groups within your school, and that what they do is grow and plant vegetables and fruits, and then they use those same fruits and vegetables in the cafeteria for students to eat healthy and grow organic fruits and vegetables. It's a great thing. You don't see it as often, but nothing is wrong with it, and I always promote that. Definitely healthy eating. Another thing is helping the elderly, as you see in the bottom right hand corner right here. It is hand in hand elderly care. How much a person can learn and grow from helping someone in the community in the elderly world. It is fantastic. You give that time. You don't know how much it means to them. And you know what? You think that you're giving your time, but when you walk away, that's when you learn the lesson of, wow, I learned more than I think they helped me out more than I helped them out. It's fantastic. It's a great way of helping and community service through service learning. There's a couple questions I want you to make you think. You can jot some notes down if you would like to help you out and with service learning. One is, what do you think the students would learn in a service learning lesson? Second, if you installed service learning in your lesson, how would you evaluate the students? I know if I evaluate the students, I like group discussions. I always like to see those raise of hands of how the students react. Also, I always gave them a paper of tell them to write a assignment and bring it back and tell them what they learned and what in a positive way what reflected on themselves in the service that they did. And lastly, what do you think the students would comprehend this lesson? What do you think they're supposed to learn? All right, let's go on to our next slide. Our next slide is what I talked about at the end here, is reflection. And there's a good video on it about reflection and how maybe we should promote reflection at the end of service learning.
Reflection is an important part of your service learning course. It's what separates it from a volunteer experience. Reflection is built into your curriculum and should be there in multiple ways. Your faculty member has designed your service learning experience to connect theory and practice. And so you as a student will encounter reflection in multiple ways through classroom discussions, bringing in the community components, your community experience back into the classroom, bringing what you're talking about in the classroom, the theories that you're learning about back into the community experience that you're having, as well as through reflection assignments, reflection papers, reflection journals. There's multiple ways the faculty members are integrating your service learning experience into your academic work.
Reflection is a very important part of any work, including community service.
And in each of these projects, I always have a reflective paper at the end. So where you talk about what you learned, what were challenges, what were good things about it, what were bad things about it, and that reflection actually helps students see through, which sometimes some students don't see the benefit in the beginning. But I think in that reflective writing, they realize that what actually they gained through those challenges and through the process.
That's what I love about them, is the reflective piece. They give the women time that when you think about real life, when you're speeding along and everything seems like a task list, you have this, as you graduate from St. Kate's, you have this tendency to go, wait a minute, I gotta think about this. I need to create space for me to reflect upon this. And having it done in the classroom is a great opportunity to, again, ruminate. What could I do better? What were some of the observations that I noticed in class? It's always a personal reflection, kind of blending in what you did, the other people, and how to make yourself better. The St. Kate's faculty are amazing at that, giving them space and time and grading them on their reflections. I think it's a very important piece to the service learning circle.
All right, I hope you really enjoyed that video. I know I did, about service learning and the reflection in service learning. Let's go on to our next slide. And it's our last slide. And this is our references that I came up with from some of the pictures and some of the ideas that came from here. I hope you really enjoyed this presentation. I hope you got something out of it. And remember, service learning is fantastic. It's a fantastic thing to put involved, and everyone can do it. Thank you.